All right, let's begin with the Daily Trust newspaper. Well, to review the papers with us in the studio, we have Hamza Idris, the general editor, Daily Trust newspaper. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Yeah. All right, now let's take a look at these headlines, beginning with the Daily Trust. The lead story, which is about almost the only story on the front page this morning, because the front page is actually taken over by the expected visit of the president to Maiduguri for commissioning of some projects at the University of Maiduguri, International Auditorium, Distance Learning Center there. You could see the pictures there showing you some of the projects done, funded by Alhaji Muhammadu Indimi. Now, the story at the top there says electoral bill, how governors coddled senators, moves to override Buhari. I think that's that for Daily Trust today.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to Guardian newspaper. And the lead story there says COVID-19. Nigeria records highest single-day infection. And we have some riders here. 4 deaths, 2,123 new cases as Yuletide festivities heighten. NAFDAC and PHCDA destroy over 1 million expired vaccines. Delta State reports 395 cases of Omicron variant. Vaccine inequality. Booster programs will prolong pandemic. WHO laments. Concerns as Nigeria may need a 4th dose of vaccine to ensure protection from Omicron. And finally, experts insist country remains vulnerable to massive 4th and more waves. All right, we also have a story here on page 5 that says bandits abduct 70 traders on Kaduna-Kano Road. Government unveils 5-year blueprint to refocus economy. We also have Senate passes raises budget by 800 billion naira to 17.126 trillion naira. And then gunmen kill 7 persons, abduct 5 women in Katsina. And right at the footnotes there, you'd see electoral bill. Senate halts action to override Buhari to consult reps. And these are all the stories we have on the front page of the Guardian newspaper.
All right. Now, the next paper, The Nation, is next. We take a look at the lead story that says Electoral Act, why senators dropped plot against Buhari. The writer says, Buni, 5 governors pulled last-minute strings. Senate to consult reps on next action. At the top there, you'd see residents protest plan demolition of Lagos estate. 70 traders feared kidnapped on Kaduna Highway. 41 major generals among 117 elevated officers. Senate okays Buhari's 276.8 billion naira vehement request. And then you'd also see the pictorial there showing you the launching of the National Development Plan yesterday by the president alongside some members of his cabinet and governor of Kebbi State. These are the major stories on The Nation this morning.
All right, and final paper we have on our list is Punch newspaper. The lead story here says Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Senate backs down on overriding Buhari, refers bill to constituents. And then you have writers here that say, we will consult our constituents during recess. They have a role to play, says Lawang. And Buhari rejected bill in order to rig 2023 poll. APC plans to manipulate results, and this is coming from PDP. That's what they're saying. You can find details of that story on page 2. We also have petrol subsidy rises, hit 1.16 trillion naira in 11 months. We also have National Assembly to transmit 17 trillion naira budget to Buhari today, says Lawang. 12,547 patients in isolation centers. COVID-19 cases increased by 847.44%. And, you know, that's from the 500% that was recorded in on Monday. Now, verification. FG introduces digital token to replace 11-digit NIN. And then if you go to the bottom, you'd actually see stories. Wike boasts of PDP capacity to win 2023 presidency. DSS operative kills admission seeker. Suspect released after order from above. And then you'd find a pictorial of passengers traveling for the Christmas and New Year holidays at the Murtala Muhammad Airport in Ikeja. And this particular pictorial, I think, is from Wednesday. Yes. These are all the stories we have on Punch newspaper today.
Well, very interesting there. I'm just looking at the pictures at the airport in Lagos, and I'm imagining the chaos, you know, that is likely going to happen there. If you look at everyone wants to travel at the same time. It is at this moment that sometimes you find racketeering. You know, some of the staff of the airline companies
buy the tickets and resell at a higher price.
I mean,
yes.
Well, let's get perspectives from our reviewer in the studio, Hamza Idris, General Editor, Daily Trust newspaper. Thank you for joining us again.
Welcome once again.
Good morning.
Well, let's begin by saying compliment of the season.
Thank you.
And, well, quite a lot, really. There have been reactions following the decision of the lawmakers yesterday, rather the president, to withhold assent on the Electoral Amendment Act. And that conversation is still there, dominant on the front pages this morning. Let's get your own perspective on this electoral amendment.
It's about 2023, and most of the drama took place at the Senate. On Tuesday, many people thought that the senators will override the president, but midway, you know, they suspended everything and said by Wednesday they will come up with something concrete in respect to that. But from what we gathered, most governors, high-profile personalities did not sleep. Yes, on Tuesday, that there was enormous pressure on members of the Senate to have a rethink, to postpone further deliberations on the bill until after the Yuletide period. But the fear is that maybe by next year, everything about the bill will be over. It's because a lot of interest, but civil society organizations, well-meaning Nigerians, and even keen observers outside the shores of Nigeria are really calling on the legislature not to drop the bill. What they are saying is, if you have an issue, there is no need for you to throw away the bathwater with the baby. Yes, I think overall, the interest is about strengthening the democracy, giving opportunity to Nigerians, giving opportunity to relevant stakeholders like INEC to be able to fine-tune the electoral process. And there are many provisions therein. But the major problem for now, you know, a few months ago, it was about electronic transmission of results, as if Nigeria will calm down completely that time. But at the end of the day, it has come to stay in the bill. But now that we have another issue of direct primaries, it is the contentious issue now. And the president said, giving just one option for political parties, that the only way to select their flag bearers is should be through direct primaries, whereby all members of the party will have a stake. He said it has many implications, both economic and security, and that was the reason he gave, based on advice by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. And so he now declined to assent to the bill. So the issue now is that Nigerians are calling on the National Assembly to, you know, maybe tinker or tweak that aspect and then maybe restore what we had before. It is about 3 options, you know, the direct primaries, indirect primaries, and then consensus. And that is it.
All right. Well, some are already feeling that there's some ploy to drag the whole process. I mean, looking at between now and 2023, how much time do we actually have? That some of the arguments is that the president had 30 days, a whole 30 days, to decide either whether to withhold assent or to give his assent. And then he waited until when it is after the 30 days. And then nobody heard anything until we now, you know, saw that a letter was read from him at the chambers regarding that. So there are speculations about the fact that, look, this is a smokescreen, even by the lawmakers, that there is no genuine interest to actually bring about these reforms, you know, electorally and all of that. So how much of time do we have? Are we working with time?
There are many options. There are many options, but it is only commitment and then the will by those that matter to address this. Let me give you an example. During the debate on the petroleum bill, you know, there were some issues. But when the legislators took it to the president and he made some observations, they said, no, you can sign, and then maybe after a few days you can write for some adjustments, because you have that enormous power to ask the National Assembly to amend sections that you think are not good. So
one would ask the question, why didn't that happen with the Electoral?
That is the politics we are talking about. And as I said, many people are calling on the legislators to insist, because while the president has, you know, power to veto, they also have powers to override him. And based on your question, you know, it is the Speaker of the House of Representatives who actually introduce, or rather fine-tune, if you like it, that aspect of direct primaries. But people are saying, okay, democracy entails options. So in that regard, probably the legislators did not also get it right to say all political parties must adopt.
But was there even any need to do that in the first place?
Well, you see, many Nigerians have been crying that this the issue of delegate system, where you have fewer people, you know, taking decision on behalf of the larger population, you know, was not giving the desired result, because those delegates tend to be compromised.
Yeah, but parties can actually conduct direct primaries, even, you know, before this whole brouhaha.
Even the election, even in Lagos, you know, that was what happened. Yeah, that was what happened. That was what happened in Lagos. And you see, there are some governors that are not really averse to direct primaries, yes. But there are some who believe that it will cost more money and then resources, and it will be chaotic, because most political parties don't even have authentic register of their members. So at the end of the day, you might not get the desired result. These are some of the issues that they are raising, and they said, okay, why not allow the multiple options so that each state or each local government or each ward, you know, can decide on the mode to adopt in selecting their leaders who will contest for for election. But above all, I think the most important thing is to make sure that we improve our electoral process. You see, if we didn't get it right now, it will be tough for Nigeria in 2023, because it means many other things, many other provisions in the bill will not be used for the election, because they need to be backed by laws. And if you don't have that, it means we are going to have a repeat of some of the shortcomings we experienced during previous elections. And above all, it means after the election, the whole bill must have to be reintroduced again, which will cost taxpayers a lot of money.
So do you think some of the clauses, you know, that are like the indirect primaries would be removed? Because we've had CSO saying they should either override the president or remove the clauses and reintroduce the bill. But even on the Punch newspaper, you know, you have the Senate saying they have not backed down, that what they're doing is they're going on recess and they will refer the bill to their constituents.
What will the constituents say? What will they do? You understand? This is a very simple arithmetic between the legislators and the president. As I said earlier, they can advise him, even though he's aware, and his handlers should also have advised him that, okay, maybe sign this and then seek for amendment. And then the amendment, they can do it in 1 week or thereabout to remove areas that the president, you know, feel, that they are not favorable for the system. But as it stands, many of us have doubts that maybe by the time they come back from the recess, their attention will be taken by other issues. So that is the problem.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about another thing. There's a lot going on in the military. For instance, there's this promotion at the defense headquarters. 41 major generals have been promoted, among 117 elevated officers. Let's talk about the implication of that on the fight against insecurity, if any.
It will improve their morale, because promotion all over the world is positive. You know, when you are promoted, it means you have done well. And in the military cycle, you know, theirs is regimented, it's a system. They must have passed through the rigors of their callings. They must have passed the examination set for them. But it is a very good development that you have more officers, and then I think there are others who are not on top but have also been promoted, meaning more income for them, more recognition for them. But you know, last week there were speculations that many top generals will bow out of the system, but we didn't see it yet. But obviously, you know, whenever you have some people climbing the ladder,
some are definitely,
it means there are others who have reached the pinnacle and will most likely leave. But in the military cycle, unlike in the private sector, they all know when it is time for them to move on. By the time you attain certain ranks, you know, obviously that not all of you will go beyond that point, and meaning that some will go, but we don't know whether it will happen now or later.
Well, some people seem to think that these promotions have become more political.
I don't think if that is the case in the military. You can see that in other areas, but honestly in the military they have this discipline. Yes, they have procedures of promotion. Of course, you might see 1 or 2 people receiving special promotion because of gallantry, because of certain things they did. The Chief of Defense Staff or the Chief of Army Staff or the Army Council, you know, they can use their prerogative to promote one or two people, but you don't really witness, you know, promotions being done anyhow. Yes, they have serious, if there is any institution that has, you know, stand the test of time, I think, is the military. But, you know, even the police yesterday, they promoted many officers, including, you know, husband and wife, who are now commissioners of police. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we'll revisit that because there's some conversations that need to be had, you know, around having couples working in the same system or environment. You know, what will prompt that discussion is the recent, I would say, detention of a soldier by the you know, army for accepting proposal by a corps member, you know, a trainee, in the words of the army. But that's aside. Let's look at the issue of COVID-19. Yesterday we saw the destruction of over 1 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine by NAFDAC and the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency. Isn't it shocking that just a few weeks after these vaccines were delivered to Nigeria, and then they expired, and then they have to be destroyed just when we need more of the vaccines?
Yes, this is what the minister said. You know, most of the vaccines we are having here are donations. Very sad, are donations. So it is at the instance of the donors to send them when they feel like sending, and then even the protocol involved in transporting the vaccines. But right from the word go, they said they have short lifespan because they will expire. So the expectation was that once they are delivered, they should be administered. Yes, but you can see the serious apathy. Up till now, not more than 2% of Nigerians that are supposed to be vaccinated have been vaccinated. People are not forthcoming. So for me, even the issue of democratization of it has been democratized already. We are just making noise. People saying that the advanced society, or the advanced world, they have not democratized. What kind of democratization are we talking about? When, if you walk into most of the government facilities, the vaccines are there, but people are not willing to go because many Nigerians, including many who are advocating for the vaccines to be taken, have not taken.
Okay, now I actually know
but that's quite ironical.
The recent wave of flu that went around the whole country would have actually prompted a lot of people to go get the vaccine. But don't you think that reports of most of these vaccines being you know, expired, you know, would actually, you know, make them relax and not want to, you know, get vaccinated?
No. If you go to supermarket now, if you take a tin of milk, you will see there is expiration date there. But you realize that the attrition rate is very low because people buy milk, people buy cornflakes, people buy many other commodities because they trust them. But this one, there is no trust. There is mutual suspicion between the people and the leadership. And that is why many people are not willing to go for the vaccine. You see people having flu, they will say it's normal mora. It's normal. It's normal cold. It's very sad. It's very sad that up till now, you know, less than 2%. So you can imagine.
Well, another thing, I think a lot of people don't even want to get tested, even if they have like a cold or something. And I think there was a time where there were reports going around that even if you go get tested, even if it isn't COVID, they will say it's COVID. The hospitals will say it's COVID. You tested positive. So
yes, we are doing an investigation as we speak, and we'll come up with a story along that line. Yes, including many people who are circumventing the process to get qualified for some privileges. You know, ordinarily you cannot travel without being vaccinated. You cannot travel without getting tested. But many people have been traveling without getting the vaccine, without even testing, but you see them with the papers in their hand.
They have the certificates.
They have the certificate, and that is why we are not trusted. Yes, you see Nigerians being subjected to ridicule. Yes, when they go to other countries, because they have a rival that we don't subject ourselves to the test, and it's embarrassing. Yes.
I actually saw a video of some Nigerians who, you know, went to Ghana, you know, and they were, you know, they just, I don't know.
They actually,
they
from
tested
what we,
negative,
yes,
you know,
from what
prior
we
to
had
traveling.
in the video, they are alleging that there's some kind of
conspiracy,
hanky-panky
yes,
being played, because they feel that just the previous day they were tested and they were
some even
confirmed
twice,
negative,
2 different places,
and then the next day they are said to be positive again. So
and they have to pay $700 or something.
Yes, for,
you know,
staying
for
in the
isolation, for staying
center.
in.
Yeah, so there is the politics part of the COVID-19 all over the world. There is the politics part, but I think we should all be committed, because it's a serious problem. People are dying of it, and many people are also dying here, but simply because we don't do autopsy, you know. Yes, we don't do autopsy, and that is why you see people saying he died a natural death or things like that. But
if it were to be investigated, you
yes,
will find that it's actually COVID.
Yes, it's COVID.
Well, let's take a quick break now, and then when we come back, we'll be continuing our discussion on the program. Please stay with us.
The board and management of Media Trust Limited invites the general public to its annual Daily Trust Dialogue, themed 2023, The Politics, Economy and Insecurity. Date, 20th January 2022. Location, NAF Conference Center and Suites, Abuja. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Chairman of the occasion, former Head of State, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, GCFR. Guest Speaker, Governor of Kaduna State, Malan Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai. Guest Speaker, Governor of Ebonyi State, Engineer David Umahi. Guest Speaker, former Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mrs. Ifueko Omoigui Okauru. Moderator, Executive Director, Daria Media Nigeria Limited, Kadaria Ahmed. The event will be transmitted live on TrustTV, and all participants must observe COVID-19 protocols and wear their face masks.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust Daybreak on Trust TV. All right, so we're still on newspaper review, and we still have Hamza Idris in the studio. Right now, we want to go back to petrol subsidy. And on Punch newspaper, this particular story says that the petrol subsidy rises and it hits 1.6 trillion naira in 11 months. And we also have, another story that says the federal government rakes in 2.56 trillion naira from petrol, kerosene, diesel sales in 13 months.
Yes.
Let's have your thoughts on that.
It's a ritual now. Yes, the issue of under-recovery, subsidy, and all that. Nigeria will continue to record that maybe up to the middle of next year, when the federal government hopes to remove the subsidy. Yes, and by that time, it means this money, as they said, will be channeled to other endeavors. Yes, we'll pay more by the time the subsidy is removed. But in our paper today, we have like 3 or 4 stories relating to the leakages in the distribution of the oil, you understand? From our findings, is like Nigeria is subsidizing its neighbors, because as I said, the story we have today, hundreds of jerry cans filled with diesel and some with petrol were concealed and about to be taken out of Nigeria to neighboring countries. So we believe that even after the removal of subsidy, when Nigerians will be paying 300 or more, it means the money or the price will double in neighboring countries, in Niger, Benin, Cameroon, Chad. And then the racket will continue. So the best thing, I strongly believe, is to find a way of blocking the leakages to stop smuggling. Yes, because when we succeed in stopping smuggling, the subsidy, as you call it, or under recovery, or even the consumption will go down. Because if you discuss with actors in the petroleum industry, they will give you, the statistics of the volume or the quantity of the products that, go out of our depots and all that. But they will not give you the exact figure of what is consumed in Nigeria. So it means there is a serious problem. And this will not be solved. Nigerians will continue to pay more unless we are able to block the leakages, to stop smuggling, to ensure that what comes out of the refineries or the depots or whatever, is either consumed in Nigeria, or if it gets out, the right value comes back to the coffers of the government.
There's actually been a lot of confusion when it comes to subsidy. In the past, we've had governments come in, some would include subsidy, some would remove subsidy. There's been a back and forth. And like you said, when subsidy is removed, Nigerians will end up paying more for fuel and other, products. Will the economy have improved by then? Because as it is right now, a lot of Nigerians are suffering.
Yes, that is the prayer, and the anticipation is by the time the subsidy is removed, some modular refineries will have come on board. The much anticipated Dangote refinery will also be ready, which means we will not be importing. Why it is expensive is because we import it. And it's very sad. We have this for how many years? since before independence. That was when Nigeria started an oil exploration. And it's a shame that up till now we didn't get it right. And I think among all the oil producing countries, only Nigeria is now importing substantial part of the refined petroleum. And that is why our foreign earning is really suffering, because this 1.something trillion is under recovery, meaning it is being deducted at source, that after selling the crude oil, the NNPC will take enough to import the refined product. Yes, instead of the whole money coming back to Nigeria, assuming we are refining it here.
Now, we seem to run a risk of considering this Dangote refinery as one magic one, that once it comes on stream, then Nigerians are going to find it easy when it comes to, you know, availability of fuel and all of that. What happens to fixing our own refineries? What does it actually even take to get those refineries back? Because we've been talking about fixing those refineries for as long as I can remember.
Well, you know, they have given a contract for the Wari refinery, right?
Yeah.
So we are waiting. And they announced that they will also fix Kaduna and Port Harcourt refinery. Just last week, we sent our reporters to go and see the level of progress, if there is any, in Kaduna. We are waiting for their findings. You know, in Nigeria, we are very good in making declarations, but when it comes to execution, that is where the problem lies. Just yesterday, there was a meeting of ministers of oil-producing companies, and they were lamenting that foreign investors are withdrawing their support for the oil sector, for greener energy, and that is very dangerous, you see. And I don't think they should be lamenting, because how on earth will you keep expecting foreigners to come and invest in what is, you know, in your doorstep? Nigeria, Angola, what have you, almost all the developing countries that have the petroleum resources, they rely or depend on foreign investors, which is very sad. So I think it's high time for our leaders to really get serious in terms of investment, in the petroleum sector.
All right, thank you so much. I think with this, we will be wrapping up the dailies today. Thank you so much, Hamza Idris, General Editor, Daily Trust, for joining us.
Thank you, sir.